Good morning, this is Jovi from Yerba, South Africa. You've caught me very early, yes, on a Saturday morning, wearing my climbing beanie. We're going to go for a climb out on Table Mountain, so I'm broadcasting Yesuri from the Republic of Cape Town this morning. And the reason for this video is to do a traditional mate preparation with my bomba, mate cup and yerba mate, because I've been getting a lot of my customers and friends saying that their mate turns out really bitter when they prepare it in the traditional way. And firstly, that's normal. If you're new to mate, then you gotta build up some skills and knowledge, get to an advanced level, and then your mate will turn out better as you perfect your mastery of the mate. I sometimes compare it to a pipe smoker, you know, those old school kind of Sherlock Holmes pipes. On the first time, you're probably going to mess it up. The second, fourth, 10th time, it's still going to be quite dodgy. But with age, wisdom and experience, you get better and better at it, and you start enjoying it more and more and more, and you're able to teach people. So let me get down to it. The main reason that your mate is turning out bitter, as what some of you describe it, is probably because your water is too hot. Secondly, probably because you're leaving it too steep, which you don't need to do with mate. And thirdly, you might be stirring the mate, which you should not be doing. No toques la bomba. There's no reason for you to stir the mate, and there are good reasons for that. You'll get little bits up the bomba if you do. It'll be strong and intense, which it's already strong enough. You don't need to stir it and make it even stronger. And you want to leave dry yerba floating on top of the water when you're drinking traditional style mate, because mate is the only hot drink that you can refill multiple times, 10, 12, depending on the quality of the yerba, maybe 15 up to 20 times. And you want to have as much fresh, dry yerba mate for the refill as possible. So that's another reason that you don't stir the mate. Do not stir the mate. Okay, so let me get down to it. I have prepared my hot water in my thermos over here at 70 degrees Celsius. Fahrenheit, I think it's like 150 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Sorry, I'm not so good with the Fahrenheit. So that's important. It's got to be at a temperature where it's sippable. 100 degrees Celsius is when it's boiling. So take 30 degrees Celsius off of that and you get to 70. The best way is to have a thermometer. They're really cheap. They cost like 100 Rand, which is less than $10 for a little water thermometer. And I use it a lot. And it's really nice to know that your water temperature is going to be good, especially if you're drinking mate with other people. Then it's quite a pity, and kind of messes things up if the water's too hot and you have to wait, and then it gets stronger and stronger, because it's sitting there steeping. Alright, so the technique is also quite important with mate. It's a process that takes a bit of time, kind of like preparing a tobacco pipe versus smoking a commercial ready-to-go cigarette. So traditional mate takes time. What you want to do is rather use more yerba than less. Often you might think that if it's too strong for you, you should be using less yerba mate. That's not the case. You should be filling your mate cup or your gourd at least 1/3 with yerba mate, preferably halfway. So at least 2 heaped tablespoons is generally the rule. So I've got a good amount of yerba in there. It's about just under halfway of my cup here. So the first thing you want to do is kind of whack your hand over the top like that and turn it almost upside down and just shake it a little bit like a like a cocktail shaker. Just a few times like that is good. You'll get some on your hand like that. That's the symbol of a mate drinker. I'll just blow that off. Arriba. And what you're going to end up with is hopefully a slope of yerba in your mate cup, like that, and maintain that slope. So you kind of hold your mate cup at 45 degrees. So if you put that down slowly and carefully, you should still maintain a good slope. Yeah, looking good. So let's get the camera right in there. Oh, the light is not, but you can see there on the far end it's quite empty and it slopes up towards the side over here. Let's just drop the angle of this camera a little bit. There we go, that's better. Okay. So the top end of the slope, the peak, is what you want to keep dry. So you pour your water on the empty side, the bottom of the slope side. So I'll do that now. This water is 70 degrees Celsius, sippable temperature. It's kind of the temperature if you've just added some milk to your boiling hot coffee to cool it down a bit. That's kind of what 70 degrees is like. So you see I'm pouring the water in the same spot until everything floats up to the top. And I'm just going to let that absorb a little bit. I personally think I could be using a bit more yerba over here, so I just pour a bit on top. Oh, I forgot to mention the reason for shaking the mate. The reason for that is so that you get the reason you turn it upside down and shake is so that you get the coarser bits, the bigger chunks and the stems to the top and the finer bits to the bottom. So when you turn it back up straight, then the finer bits are at the bottom and the coarser bits are at the bottom and the finer bits are on top, and that prevents little bits of yerba coming up the bomba, helps for better drainage, and so then the bomba is less likely to clog up. Okay, so I've let that kind of sit a bit and expand, like the yerba is absorbing the water. And now I'm going to insert my bomba at the same place where I put the water in. Get it right to the bottom there. And the mate is ready to go. There's no more waiting required now. You can just drink it straight away. Oh man. Now you cannot tell me that is even strong, nor bitter, nor intense. This is smooth. Smooth, smooth, smooth. Slightly sweet. Affable. You're getting all the kind of grassy, straw-like notes of mate, of aged mate. Slightly smoky, but caramelized. And that is so good. Now I'm pretty convinced that it's because my water temperature is just perfect, that this mate is just perfect. So let me show you what you do once you've finished it. It's always good manners to make a slurpy sound with mate. Now you can see the dry yerba at the top of my slope is still intact. The bomba is actually helping to keep it in place. So do not stir the mate. Just leave the bomba alone. A good way to fight the temptation is just to hold the mate with two hands like that. And now I finished it, so now I'm just going to top it right up again. And you pour the water in the same spot every time. Pour it up against the bomba. Oh yeah, that's looking good now. You see that that bit of foamage on top? It's a sign that the mate is brewing well, that it's a good mate. They say siempre tiene que tener espumita. which means it always has to have a little bit of foam. And what that is, those are the saponins and the flavonoids in the mate. Saponins it's a medicinal compound. It's antibacterial, antiseptic, antifungal, and a lot more antis, but I'm no doctor, so I'm not going to try to go into detail with that even. But all you need to know is that it's a good sign. So this is usually the point where you would pass the mate on to somebody that you've invited to join you, and they would finish an entire serving for themselves, after which you top it up again, and then it's the next person in the circle's chance, and so on until the flavor of the mate is out. Okay guys, well, I hope that has helped you a bit, and there's no reason that your mate needs to be too strong or intense, and bitter is not the word for mate. Green tea that's been brewed too long gets bitter, but mate doesn't get bitter if you do it correctly. So good luck, and yeah, feel free to reach out if there's anything else I can help with. Ciao.